Fall is winding down as we approach Thanksgiving this week, but I am one of those people that I will scrapbook fall year round or as long as possible, right? Today I'm working with a Before You Go cut file, which is on the last page of the fall issue of Scrapbooking Cards Today Magazine. Isn't this beautiful, this wreath image with all the leaves, the flowers, the acorns? I'm going to be using this cut file along with the PhotoPlay paper Autumn Vibes collection, which is so pretty. Now I've cut this cut file out twice. I did the main cut file in a dark brown to go with the colors of the collection, and then I went into my silhouette program and removed all of the inner cutout pieces and made a solid shape in craft cardstock. I'm going to be layering these together, but my idea was to add them to this brown pattern paper to create like a frame or an aperture for my layout. So at this point, I'm trying to decide if I want to leave that background layer in this solid craft, or I'm thinking I might color in the different sections. I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking it might depend on the pattern paper that I place this over, so I'm trying out a few here. I love the one with the fall trees. That was the first one. I love the teal. I love the gingham. There's so many that I loved, and so I'm kind of holding up my photo and deciding which one looks the best. I initially thought I would go with this fall tree one because this is my absolute favorite paper from this collection, and so I had set that aside. I do eventually end up going with the teal pattern paper, but for now I will just keep moving along and you'll see that in a few moments. Now I wasn't sure how these colored pencils would look on this craft cardstock, so I was just doing a little test there on my scrap piece. So I really liked how it looked. Before I start coloring though, there's a few flowers that have like a middle section or the center of this flower, and so I used a pencil to draw the lines where that was so I could use them as guides when I went in to color the different shapes. Now as I'm adding color to the shapes, I'm trying to keep them in a visual triangle and disperse them around this wreath. So you can see that I have the yellow flower, I did a couple of yellow leaves, and then I'll come back in with each of the different colors. I use red, I use a bright orange, and then I also mix in some green for some of the leaves. So I won't show you this entire process, you'll just see little bits and pieces of it. I also did add some light brown to the top of the acorn images there. So I'll just finish coloring this up. I do come back to it a few times to make sure the color is as consistent as possible. The craft cardstock that I was using had a bit of a texture to it, so it almost looked like a coloring book type texture, if you know what I mean, where it has that rough paper look, but I was okay with that. I think I got most of the images pretty solid, and I think it turned out really cute. So here I'm just adhering the two layers together, and I really love the colorful feel that this has. So now that I have all of the colors colored in on that craft layer, I'm able to attach this to the brown pattern paper, and then once again I'm going to hold this up to the different pattern papers that I have in mind, just because now I might change my mind, right, now that it's so colorful. Before I had selected that tree pattern paper. You see that off to the left side, but I do switch that up because of all the coloring that I did on that cut file image. So I did matte my photo with some brown cardstock just to tie it back into the cut file here. And this is where I changed my mind and I decided to go with that teal paper instead. So I wanted this aperture to sort of have some dimension to it. So I am using some thin foam tape all around the edges of that frame or aperture piece that I created already with the cut file, and that will just give it a little bit of a lift. Now this is really thin foam tape. It's not going to add a ton of dimension to this layout, which is good because when I go to put it in my book, I don't want it to be super duper chunky, right? So I'm just lining up one of the corners. I peeled off one edge of that foam tape, and now I'm just going around the edge to finish adhering that into place. The last corner I did have a little, I don't know, wrinkle, I guess you would say. It kind of bowed on me. So off camera, I will take some undo and douse that. You can see that the right hand side of the layout, it looks a little wet right there. That's just because I was adjusting the foam tape. Well, I'm coming back to the main photo now, and I'm deciding to tuck it in under the right edge of this aperture that I've created. I did double matte it again with that orange plaid paper. I like that that has a bright white to it and ties into the white edge around the photo. And just, I think that white color just helps that photo to stand out, even though it's kind of tucked in behind, right? So now I'm going to come in with some more of these pattern papers. I cut them into some strips, and I'm going to create some anchoring strips that I'll place below the bottom edge of that photo. First, I'm doing this tonal orange leaf pattern, so I'll go ahead and tuck that in there. And then I'm also going to do this red and yellow sunflower paper. I think this is so cute, and so I want to add a little slice of this. So I'm going to ink that up with some gray ink, and then I'll just tuck that there under the title or under the photo, and then I'll move on to my title and my journaling and things like that. I really love a cut file. It gets my creative juices flowing, and it's almost like a sketch or something like that. It's a great starting point where you have something finite that you're going to work with. And so because I'm using the wreath, it helped me to know where my photo was going to go, and then I can start to work off of that. So if you're stumped, you're not sure where to start, try a cut file. Sometimes it will help you to just get your decisions going, and I really like that about cut files. So I have cut out one of the cut apart cards to use for the journaling, and I've tucked it there under the left edge. I'm not sure, I do end up taking that off just because I also fussy cut out this apple basket, and I really, really wanted to use it. It was quite large, and I ended up putting it in the bottom left corner, and I don't know, I felt like it was competing with the journal block, and I really love the teal pattern paper in the background, and I'm covering up a lot of it. So I decided to take out that journal card, and I will just add journaling strips in place of it. I also cut apart this fall title from one of the 4x6 cards on that cut apart sheet, and I really think this is cute, and I was going to use it as my title, and guess what? I changed that out as well because I felt like in the end the white color of that title competed with my photo, and so I wanted something more subtle and to tie back in with my cut files. So you'll see what I do there in a second. In the meantime, I'm picking out some stickers to accent the title and to accent that apple basket. So first off, I pick out this Great Memories banner. I do mat it onto some brown cardstock, and I just fussy cut around it with some scissors, as you saw there, and that just again ties that back into the brown color of the cut file that I used earlier. I pulled off a few stickers. There's that super cute teal sweater that ties back into the background. I also added some warm cozy socks next to it, and now I'm cutting out this pumpkin sign that is also in the orange plaid, the same orange plaid that is around my photo, and I'm going to tuck that under the right edge of that sweater and socks. So I'm just adding some foam tape to get these all arranged and into place in the bottom left corner of my photo, and I really love this cluster. It's super cute, so fall and just warm and cozy. I love it. So after that's finished up, I do go ahead and adhere down my title, and I'm using foam tape to do that as well. But like I mentioned before, I am going to switch that out. So I don't do that quite yet. I do go back to the sticker sheet, and I continue working on this title. And in the whole time, I'm just thinking in the back of my mind, I'm not sure if I like this bright white. So I'll just keep working with it. I'll go ahead and adhere the fall letters. I also fussy cut the word hello from the same 4x6 card so that my title reads Hello Fall. And then I'm going to go back and keep working with the stickers. I love all the images in this set. Super, super cute. So I add an oak leaf with the acorns to the right of the pumpkin sign. I'm going to add a sprinkling of leaves to the top left corner of the apple basket there. And I like that because I feel like it ties back into the leaves in that wreath cut file image. And then I'm going to add a second apple basket and a little pumpkin up here by the second letter L in the title. I will play around with a few of those stickers a little bit more, but then I will be moving on to switching out that title. My biggest issue with switching out the title is that I love the scale and size of the letters that are there already, and so I wasn't sure if I had an option in my stash that would work. I did find these awesome letters. These are letter dies from the We Are Makers or We Are Memory Keepers, and they ended up being the perfect size. So I decided to cut them out from the same two cardstocks that I used for the cut file. I used the dark craft color and then the dark brown color, and I offset those from one another so that it appears as though the dark brown is a shadow layer behind that craft layer. I went ahead and pierced these letters just down the center to create some stitching lines, and now I'm using a variety variety of colors of embroidery floss in some just the fall colors that I used to color in the cut file. I'm using those same colors to stitch the letters on each of these thick letter die cuts. So I love the way these turned out. I'm going to go ahead and replace the old letters with these using the same thin foam tape, and then that will finish out the layout. Actually, I forgot. I also do add in a few journaling strips to the left of the photo, and then you will see that I did machine stitch around the edge of the layout with some tan thread to match in with that craft cardstock that I used throughout. And I love that. The layout turned out so cozy, so pretty, and just has a warm fall vibe. All right, guys, I'm Jana Eubank using the Scrapbooking Cards Today Before You Go cut file along with PhotoPlay paper Autumn Vibes collection. We'll see you next time.